let me say this. Thank you for coming to our talk, okay? The big thing we're going to talk today about is a lot about Breckenridge and just how we got here and really how Drop basically paired up, mostly with Teddy, the town. I sometimes say city. I've been corrected. I know it's town, okay? The town of Breck. And just we're going to go over a little bit of how we formed, some of the hurdles, some of those things. Some of the other things we want to do, though, is talk to the audience. You guys, we're going to ask you a few questions. There's even going to be a time in here that you can probably vent. We're going to ask you about some pain points, maybe some stuff. Maybe we're going to learn from you a little, okay, which I would love to do. It makes my job easier. So we're going to go over a few things, where we went. We're really going to listen to the professionals here. I'm just going to kind of be the moderator. Little Matthew right there is me. I work for Drop. I come from Louisville, Kentucky. So if you hear a little country in the slang, that's where it comes from. But I actually started a bike share in Kentucky, which, if you all know, is a Republican state, very much so. So there's a lot of hurdles in that way, okay? But really the experts here are my speaking people. So I'm going to just kind of introduce them slightly, then I'm going to let them introduce themselves. But Teddy, he's been great. I actually just met Teddy, but I know he's been running this for a while. And from just meeting Teddy, let me just tell you this, so there's no question that he's an ambassador of this city, that he cares about it. He's embarrassed probably by it, I can tell, but he really does. He cares about this city and brought it. Teddy, what more do you do? Tell me. Tell everyone.
Thank you. My name is Teddy Wilkinson. I'm the Sustainability and Alternative Transportation Administrator with Town of Breckenridge. I started in my role in 2021 when our sustainability program was growing and needed to go from one staff to two, and at the same time we had a grant lined up to look at doing a feasibility study, so that's where alternative transportation got added to the title there. But yeah, I've been with this program, with the e-bike share program, since before in the planning phases all the way to today.
All right, Isabel's next. I've been working with her let me hype you up real quick. Hold on. Let me hype you up, because I've been working with her for almost 2 years now with Drop. And let me tell you something right now. This young lady has helped me out quite a lot. She's helped me. I'm the new guy in the company. She knows her stuff. So she's helped me. She's educated me to quite a few things. And actually, just personally, I've appreciated it. I appreciate working with you. So come on, give them your professional stuff now. Huh?
So hi, everyone. My name is Isabel Meizoso. I lead marketing for Drop Mobility. I've been in the growth team for about 3 years, more than 3 years. So fun fact, I came to Breck e-ride's launch. So it's been amazing seeing how the system has grown in just 3 years. And yeah, that's me. Isabel.
Good. And last but definitely not least is Jay. He runs the operations here, and he works for Drop. So we've been in communication through Zoom, but we all know everyone's been on Zoom calls here, right? Where it's like, okay, so you get to know people somewhat. They're cool, but they're also you don't really know people till you meet them, right? And meeting Jay, it's been great. You have some fancy degree too that I don't know about. No, he does. Please tell him a little bit. What's the degree? You study in Ecuador? You did something. Tell us.
I have a degree in corporate finance and accounting and did microfinance in Africa, but has not a whole lot to do with what we're doing here today.
Come on, but isn't that crazy cool? Yeah.
But I'm the operations manager of Colorado and primarily focus on Breck e-ride here in town, but also with Shift over in the Vail Valley, and work closely with Beth and Teddy. And it's been a great ride so far these past few years.
All right, well, thanks, Jay. We're going to move to the next guy here. And so really just we're saying we're going to, of course, talk and integrate how basically Breck e-ride came to be and how Drop Mobility both helped with that. And we counted that. We'll go to, I believe, Teddy. You're up, my friend.
Yeah, so the idea of bringing bike share to Breckenridge really started with the town's community goals, spread out across a bunch of different plans that we like to do, draw up plans, and they all kind of pointed towards the benefits that you can get from bike share. So starting with our destination management plan, two of the goals for that, one of them's more boots and bikes, less cars. That's pretty literal. We really put out more bikes. And then also establishing Breckenridge at the leading edge of environmental stewardship and sustainable practices. Then we had our climate action plan that also set our greenhouse gas emission reduction goals, and also called out as a strategy to discourage single occupancy vehicles. Then our EV readiness plan, that was really a lot around electric vehicle charging infrastructure across the county. But in that plan, it also referenced e-bike share as a good opportunity for equity and inclusion initiative, since electric vehicles can be expensive. And then we updated our Sustainable Breck plan. We had one before, but we updated it in 2022. And in that, it called for reducing vehicle trips and congestion. And this actually, it was after our feasibility study, so we added in there to provide options for micromobility. So all of these planning documents combined really kind of pointed at this is something that we should do. And then just quickly to speak to, we are at a climate conference, and to speak about how bike share as a climate action strategy. This, what we're looking at here, is our greenhouse gas emission inventory from 2023 for Summit County, countywide. But you can see transportation is about a third of the pie. So, we can do all these things with our buildings, with our energy, with our waste, but we still have to tackle this transportation problem, which in my opinion is the hardest to decarbonize of all of them.
That's just because you work in
I do. I try to focus on that area in my role with the town. But all the presentations we've seen at the conference so far, a lot of it's about renewable energy, and if you got to listen to Bill McKibben last night, we have everything we need to go there, so we can do that. But how we move is a little bit trickier.
changing minds and changing hearts, I guess, is how it works, huh?
Yep. Next slide.
Yes, sir.
And then this is a national statistic. It comes from the Bureau of Transportation Statistics, but they did a study in 2021. They looked at all trips that Americans make in the U.S., and they realized that over 52% of them were 3 miles or less. And so that's just a huge opportunity, because 3 miles or less happens to be a great distance to travel by bike, and even easier by an electric bike. So that's really what got our wheels spinning and our interest in wanting to move this direction.
And if you think us like the bike salespeople made up the 3 miles, please know it's sourced. It just happens to be parallel and perfect, okay?
So now moving on to Drop. So who is Drop? Drop is an urban mobility solutions provider. We partner with municipalities, towns, campuses, private organizations, and more to deliver sustainable transportation options to help meet sustainability goals and also meet transportation needs. We are a vehicle agnostic company, meaning we can source different types of electric vehicles. I can go for an hour talking about, but we can do e-bikes, e-trikes, and e-scooters and more. We are in 60 plus cities in North America. Our systems range from 12 bikes to 500 plus bikes. We also do multi-jurisdiction systems. Shout out to our amazing system, Shift Bike. Here's our town partner, Beth. That system operates Edwards, Avon, Eagleville, and Vale. Another fun thing about Drop Mobility is that we are turnkey providers, meaning we fully cover the, yeah, here's what everything we do.
I'm doing the Vanna White.
Yeah, thank you.
Just not
we
as good.
fully cover the chain of micromobility, from having our in-house marketing team, product team, hardware team, customer support. You can see a bunch of them listed there. Our in-house operations team. Also, we have an in-house engineering team. They developed an amazing software that manages our app and our operational dashboard, which can also be integrated into any existing platform that a city is using.
What, you know what, we didn't cover this. I'm going to surprise you right now. Here we go. Why is it so important to have in-house though? What's so good about that for us?
So if we want to fully operate a system, we have the capabilities to do so. So if you want to have a bike share system, but you're like, I really don't know how to operate this, we can come in and just fully take care of ongoing operations. But if you're like, hey, we have an amazing marketing team in-house that can do the marketing, or also you're like, hey, we have a bike shop that can operate the system. That can also happen. We always say we're like an a la carte menu where you can pick and choose what services you want from Drop Mobility, but we can also offer all of them.
She's the head of our marketing, by the way. Very good.
So here you have images of our e-bikes around the world. So our e-bikes are fully electric. They are torque sensor, meaning that when you pedal is that when you feel the boost or like the electric part of it. We're able to control how fast they can go, but usually it's up till 16 miles per hour. Depends on the community that we're talking to. You can go to the next slide. And here you can see our bikes are in 2 different mountain towns, one being Breck and then the other one being Shift Bike. And our bikes were built to endure different terrains and seasonalities. And that's a key factor to adapting to mountain towns.
Great. All right, well, here's, we've talked a lot about maybe how we got there, what we're doing. We haven't really mentioned pain points yet, or maybe hurdles. Maybe pain points is too dramatic, but maybe hurdles or so. But we're going to get into some of ours. This is going to go, we're going to get a little into audience participation. I'm going to ask you all to communicate a little bit with us too. This could even be a session, and I'm going to take one of your all's mics if you don't mind. Thank you. Okay, and I'll make this hot when I hand it to you if that's all right. But what we're going to do is ask you all a few questions. Maybe you have something, maybe you just want to get something off your chest. Maybe some points you've had, some issues that have occurred, okay? What are some pain points maybe with micromobility, or if you want to take it somewhere else, that's fine too. But just what are some things that you've seen in your town? I'll tell you one for me, just to get us a little started, and I hinted at it earlier. It was for me changing the minds of coming into, and this is actually like 10 years ago when we were doing bike share. I'm actually kind of old. So we were like one of the first. We worked with all the legendary PBSC equipment. This was a long time ago. Please remember, I was in Kentucky. We wear a lot of boots and drive trucks there. So for me, the pain point was really educating, okay? There actually was funds. That was insane, there was, and that was easy. But it was just changing the minds that we needed it and wanted it, and that, there could actually be like bikes on the roads and all those things. We went through a big trans period with that, and it lasted a while until our last mayor. I won't throw him under the bus though, but I want to bring up some of yours. So Beth, do you have one? Do you want to be our first active person here? I'm handing you a hot mic here.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Beth Markham. I'm the Sustainability Manager with the Town of Vail, and helped to start the Shift Bike program over there with Drop Mobility. So I would say our number one pain point, we had 2 really. Well, prior to contracting with Drop, we did a pilot program with another company, and that particular bike share system required like on-site charging of the vehicles, of the bikes. And a lot of times we had trouble finding the best locations that actually had electricity to charge them. And then we also had issues with a lot of the bikes being dead all the time. And so one of the things that we loved about the Drop Mobility system is they have a swappable battery. You don't have to plug this baby in at one of the hub stations. Jay and his team will just come around and swap out the dead batteries or before they die. And so we have far more bikes in service. So that was one of our big pain points when we shifted from the company not to be named to Drop Mobility. And then I would say the other big piece is just we had, being a mountain resort community, we had a lot of challenges with our bike shops who have e-bike rental programs, and they felt like we were coming in and trying to steal their clientele, which we did not. So we focused on locals mostly.
Beth, it's almost like we've worked together before.
I know.
That's so weird. That's so crazy. Here we go. I'm going to give it to you, my friend. Marty's up now, my friend. There we go.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Marty from the city of Durango. So I believe
Durango.
We've been on some calls with the Drop team, doing some RF requests for informations. So I don't want to spend too much time, but I'm not I don't work solely in transportation, but e-bikes have been like I'm an e-bike evangelical. So anyone that's been to Durango, we have a college of about 3,000 people that's up on a mesa. It's about 300 to 400 feet elevation above town. And when e-bikes started to be a thing 6, 7, 8 years ago, I got one and I was like, I can actually bike to work. And And then we've seen just a lot of cool e-bike stuff come out of the state of Colorado. We've been doing rebate programs and things like that. But I would say our challenge points of getting any kind of bike share off the ground in Durango are every entity that would potentially be involved. So that would be like our school district, our college, the city, maybe the county, and then some of the lodgers, and then some of the possibly like hospitality locations like Scott Brewing or things. Everyone has liability concerns over like if you were the one to host a site and then someone got hurt. We also have some infrastructure connectivity issues. So we have some really great places to bike around. And then we have some places that are frankly really, can be really dangerous to get from like one zone of the community to another. And then we just have different populations of the community that think differently about other populations. Like we have a retired community, we have the college community, we have tourists, we have workforce, and I think everyone kind of sees this. No one's quite sure how it's going to serve everyone. Everyone is skeptical of like if it's serving one audience properly, then it's not going to serve another audience properly, which is an interesting set of complaints that we've been getting. But yeah.
Do you have the answer for this? What's the answer? I'd love to know.
We have had some meetings with Drop, and we are interested in their model and how it approaches a lot of these things differently. I would be interested, though, to hear from the ops team and Teddy about some of these issues about liability, connectivity, like having people ride bikes where maybe you're worried about them riding bikes. And then also some of this issue about the fleet serving the community as a whole.
We'll take a few minutes. I think we have time, right? We'll take a little bit. Okay. Oh, turn her on.
Set me up for failure, Isabel. The liability, I'll start by saying I'm not a lawyer and not giving legal advice, but there is a rider agreement, user agreement, terms and conditions that everyone that signs up to use the bikes has to agree to in order to use them. So there is kind of a little bit of an upfront waiver that everyone is signing, releasing some liability on that front. And then we also require, with our contract with Drop, for them to carry insurance as part of the program as well. And we haven't gotten sued yet, is all I could say. But the question does come up. I will say we've avoided a lot of it just by placing our hubs on town-owned property or in the right-of-way that's controlled by the town. But we do have a handful that are on private property, and it is a little bit tricky. We usually we enter into an encroachment license agreement with the property owner that basically says, you're not liable as well with those agreements. That usually helps, but sometimes you never get over that concern. There are people that are just like, no, I don't even want to risk it.
Jay, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, from the ops side, our technology, our app flags bikes that are either crashed or something, like if there's an issue, it gets reported directly to like the lowest tech, right? So those become like immediates, right? So what happens is we have a protocol to like isolate, take pictures, do everything before we even touch the bike so that there's no ambiguity. And then that bike goes into an isolation period. And with that, it gives that window of whatever, in that purgatory moment. And essentially, it creates a system so that everybody knows what's going on and there's no, you want a chain of command. In those situations, you want a chain of command so that people are an understanding of who touched it, where, because a lot of the times we'll get dispatched, if somebody fell on a bike, maybe the police call it in or somebody, So the technology helps me be a better manager so that my guys know the right thing to do, you know? And then when it comes to like hub placements, like Teddy was saying, it's like, it's imperative to make sure that you're like on real bike paths and stuff. You don't want people riding these on mountain bike trails, you know, and like they're a great bike and they're made for transportation, you know what I mean? Like to get you from point A to point B, but they're not made to like go on, you know,
I can't
mountain
go on a
bike
pump track. I
adventures.
can't get a pump track with this.
And truthfully, most people understand that. Like the way the bike rides, it's a cruiser, and you know, it rides really well, and it, you know, does exactly what it's supposed to do. And we've found that the community really embraces it as like a way to get around, and not like, let me go see what I can do on this today. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Class 1 e-bikes are not allowed on any natural surface trails in Breckenridge. And to your question on like how do you keep them off of there, the biggest thing is that it's really miserable to ride this thing on a Breckenridge mountain bike trail. It's really, there's no suspension on it. It's there's no gears. It's just not designed for that. You know, occasionally, and really it was more like in the very first season that we launched, I think we did get a report of a couple sightings of people testing them out. But I think they test it one time and then that's it.
Yeah.
So
You usually get them one time, and then they go, the effort's not worth it, right? It's, oh, why have we never done that? Well,
yes. We actually, can we go?
yeah, so we may not answer it all. We'll go a little forward, and some of those questions I think we'll get to, and then at the end we're going to jump back into everybody. Okay? Thank you. No, this is good. This is what we want. Feel free. Do this.
This is just an overview of kind of like our whole thing. We're really trying to just tell you how we did it. So if there's another community interested in doing something similar, you know, I kind of already talked about our town goals. The next thing after that, we launched our feasibility study, and then a big part of the feasibility study was community engagement, and we hired some consultants, Alta Planning and Design, that did a bunch of analysis. We were really focused in the beginning of we wanted this to serve the workforce, the local workforce was really a key point of emphasis from our council. And so through that feasibility study, you know, they went through census data and they looked at where like workforce lived, you know, our deed restricted workforce housing locations, and then job centers, where's the job density. You know, they looked at key destinations that people travel for, and we were able to kind of start piecing together like a system map and what that might look like. And then that got us over to the launch. And next slide.
And then we launched.
And then the Breckridge was born.
With that cool logo.
And we got the cool logo. Drop helped us with that. It's a sweet bike wheel. And then that little mountain is actually part of the Town of Breck logo that we snuck in there. And then to your question about geofence, this purple line on the map over here is our system boundary that is geofenced for the entire perimeter. This is where we say this is where the bikes are allowed to ride within. The question that always asks, like, what if I go outside of that? And it was a big concern at first, but we really, for the most part, people have stayed within the system boundary. The answer is that nothing happens if you drive outside of the system boundary.
Oh, don't tell people.
We keep it on the down low, but it does trigger the geofence, and they'll get sent a text message that says, hey, you've left the system, you need to turn around right away. The other thing is just the pricing model. The meter is running the entire time they're on one of these bikes, and they cannot end their session until they get back to one of these blue dots that are geofenced hubs, little geofenced bike racks. So, you know, if they do go on that longer ride outside of the service area, that meter is running until they get it back to one of the hubs. And let's see, what else do I want to talk about on this slide? Yeah, just that's all those blue dots we're now up to 31 hub locations. So that's kind of showing all the different places. It is a hub-based system. You have to start or end your trip at one of these designated places, as opposed to like a dockless system that you sometimes see in other places like Denver, where the bikes get left everywhere. every community has different preferences. There's pros and cons here, but for Breckenridge, just the organizational aspect of keeping the bikes, not blocking sidewalks, avoiding the clutter that you see with some dockless systems. It was really important, so that's where we ended up going with what you'd consider a docked system.
How many did you start with? Do you mind me just jumping? How many did you actually start with?
Yeah,
Your stations.
Our pilot season in 2021, we had 12 stations.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
we started with 12, and then added a few each year, and we're up to 31 this year.
Would you share your ridership numbers at all? Do you have?
Yeah, our first season we were at 19,000 some trips with that pilot season. Last year we were at 29,000 and some change, and so far this season we're just over 27,000 trips year to date through like Monday. So
And what's the population count here?
The year-round resident population in Breckenridge is around 5,000 people.
Wow, I think those are pretty good numbers.
Yeah, we're very, very happy with it. Actually looked randomly at our bus ridership in July, just for the month of July, and I looked at the ridership across of our 6 transit bus routes that we operate, and then I looked at what the ridership was for the bike share, and the bike share ridership was in 4th place out of 6. So there were three bus routes that had more, 3 that had less, but I like that analogy because it really does add your public transportation capacity. It's like we added a whole nother bus route in terms of being able to move people around the community.
Next one, that's very good. Oh, here we go. This is interesting.
This was a big part of going through that feasibility study. One of our big pain points was just a lot of concern around, we have a lot of existing bike rental shops, and both our from our town council and the bike shops themselves they didn't want this program to take away customers, take away business. So the way we went through that, and we really looked at through our study, we looked at other systems around, and WeCycle was one that we really looked closely at with how they do it over there, but really distinguishing the use cases between bike share versus bike rental, where the bike share is really designed for transportation, short trips, usually 30 minutes or less is what we're after with the bike share, and the bike rental shops are looking for visitors, people on vacation here that are looking for a half-day or full-day bike rental where they can go cruise all the way around Dillon Reservoir or go up to Vail Pass. And so I really think that those are just different markets, different customers. No one's going to go into a bike rental shop, pay $80 just to get down to dinner from their hotel or get to work or something like that. So
Well, they'd have to bring it back to the store too.
and then
So it defeats the whole. It's just 2 different markets. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I think this is where we really drew the line. And if you go to the next slide, how we implemented this really, it was through our pricing model. The main way that the public uses these bikes is with the pay-as-you-go rate. It's $4 to unlock the bike, includes 30 minutes of ride time. If you go over the 30 minutes, it goes into a 50 cent per minute fee, which is steep, and that is by design. It's because we want people returning these bikes to the hubs within 30 minutes. And then again, if they are looking for that longer recreational ride, then check out one of these great bike rental shops that we have in the community. In addition to that, for the local residents, it is the town of Breckenridge that's really sponsoring, paying for this program. We want a clear community benefit, and we want our local residents and community to have access and be able to use this program as much as possible. But that's where we, on the bottom, have the local memberships options, $20 for a monthly membership or $50 for the whole season. And that gives them an hour of ride time every single day. If they happen to go over that, it's 15 cents a minute after that. So we worked really hard we wanted that to be affordable. We didn't want cost to be a barrier, especially for our local residents. And in addition to this, if cost was a barrier, we also have an equity pricing program. We set it so that anyone at 60% of area medium income or below can get half off of the local membership rates.
I'm going to chime in a little just on kind of like drop side of this a little bit. So this is how we kind of attack this problem with you guys. But just so you know, with the bike shops and things, we have many different ways. We can do a zip code type of things for the locals to be there. I think Beth knows that. There's quite a few little things we can work together to we kind of accomplish that and do things. So if that is a worry or like a pain that you have, just know you can come talk to us and we can like give you the whole thing and show you a few case studies. I'm really big on case studies and not telling anyone what exactly they need to do. I always think you know your town better than me. So I'm just like, these are all the things that worked. Look at them. Let's take what works for you and put it all together. And so we have a whole lot of things we can do to help with that bike shop thing. And I will tell you, I think for me, once I get to talk to the bike shops, it's changing hearts and minds again. It's just once you communicate, educate them to the different people. I truly found, at least I go back to Louisville, Kentucky, because that's where I started bike share. We found people buying bikes after using it for a year. Okay, yeah, thank you, because people have fought me on this, and I go, I swear, I've seen it. And they said, well, why am I going to keep doing this? And I actually, even when sometimes you have bosses, if I work from, they're like, oh, I want to just keep riding that. I think it all works together. Okay, I think it all works together. So that's just my thought. We'll go to the next one here, my friend.
Before Isabel launches into this one, I will just say on the pricing, that is a customizable thing for your community. So this is what we did in Breckenridge based off of what our goals and what we were trying to do. It can look different based off of what you all are trying to accomplish.
Thank you for that. Boop. Isabel, you're up.
Okay, so with drop, no two markets are the same. As we've been selling this throughout the whole presentation, is that every community has its own challenges and its own transportation needs. So we always say, this is sort of, you will hear it on and on again, Drop Mobility is a flexible company, and together with our partners, we build a system that reflects the community. What we always say is that we build a system with the community for the community. So I'm going to use Breck as an example, Breck E-Ride. So in partnership with Teddy, we developed branding that reflects the community. We determined how the operations would look like on a day-to-day, and Jay will be talking about this later, so I'm not going to get into the weeds of it. He just talked about it, but we determined pricing, which is affordable and accessible for the community. On top of that, we developed an equity program for the community members that are experiencing financial hardship. Another interesting thing about us is that we're super transparent when it comes to sharing data with our partners. We're able to customize reports at the end of each month, so our partners have full visibility of the overall system's health. And the last one is, given our flexibility, we're able to pivot and adapt to meet your sustainability goals.
Whoops. I was slacking, sorry.
That's fine. Okay, so if you are here because you want to bring bike share to your community and you just don't know where to start and your number one blocker is money, please come talk to us. The first step in designing a system is understanding what resources are available. When we have that conversation, we'll be able to understand what steps needs to be taken, and also if you have a budget available, we can see how we can work with that. So we always say start small. Bike share is an investment, and there's no need to go all in at once. We like to start small, have a couple of bikes, a couple of stations, have a couple of months with that pilot, and then we can gather data from the community, from the local businesses, ridership data. We can see, okay, this station here doesn't make sense. Why don't we move it to this area, giving the ridership numbers? And after the pilot proves to be successful, that's when we like to scale in a phased approach. And this, the way we do it allows us to have conversations around, okay, if you need budget, let's sit down, let's see what we can do. Do we need to find sponsors? Do we need to apply for grants? So we can get very creative in ways in which we can find funding, but very important here is you can see us as consultants. We're here to help you throughout the way. Like, we're not just gonna drop our bikes and leave. You can ask Teddy, you can ask Beth. We're here throughout the whole program, working in tandem with you, making sure that the program is running smoothly. So given our flexibility approach, we're able to grow with constraints and build a confident community.
You just got to take the leap.
You just got to take the leap. Come talk to us.
Take the leap.
Please. We love having these types of conversations. And yeah, we have a couple of successful case studies nearby, so please reach out.
Perfect. Operations. This is Jay
and now
our
we pass
time
it
with
to Jay.
Yeah.
So operations manager out here, and our staffing footprint, it's really nice because we're able to provide like seasonal work, flexible seasonal work. We have somebody working usually at 7 a.m. and somebody usually until 8 p.m. So folks that work other jobs are able to use this as like a part-time situation for them. And it's been really nice too because it's usually local folks. So there's a lot of like community engagement. Like they take pride in their work. With our station siting, as you know, like we put them in places where people need them. And with the hub-based system, it makes it really easy on our techs because you're not like frivolously looking for bikes or doing anything of that nature and finding things like in a river or anything like that. It just makes it really easy for your techs to go out and be efficient. Like we're able to run a pretty lean team because of the proficiency of the app. The app is huge, and being able to know exactly where these bikes should be. Like we said, we have close relationships with our partners. I talk with Teddy multiple times a week. Beth and I chat a lot, and it creates a relationship where, like, I mean, I live in Vail. Like, I work for this company that's providing a service for town. So, like, as you know, our small mountain town communities, everybody knows each other kind of thing. And so, like, those relationships really matter, and it becomes like a very symbiotic relationship. So I've found in the markets that I work. Back to the battery swaps and charging, that's another thing that helps our operations out immensely. One, eyes on bikes, making sure we're putting safe bikes on the road so that people are, you know, enjoying their rides, but making it so that we don't have to have robust infrastructure to be charging bikes at these stations and stuff. We're able to swap out the batteries, we go back to the shop, put them on charge, and it's a very fluid system when it comes to those types of operations. And as you know, Mountain Town, we have a seasonality portion of that. We start May 1st in both markets, and then we end on October 31st, Halloween. And we kind of go into a hibernation situation, but it also gives us flexibility to, like, say you started a pilot and, like, we go into hibernation. You're able to, like, take some time and make decisions on, like, new hubs or, like, get feedback from the community. Teddy gets requests all the time for hubs and where they should be, and it's a way to, like, retool if need be, like, in those early stages. But it's also great because it's not necessarily a deterrent, right? You're not, like, if you have snow, it doesn't, like, limit you to not having your own bike share.
So that shouldn't be a deterrent. I mean, if you're saying, hey, we can't do it because I get snow, it can't happen, that shouldn't.
No, and truthfully, our towns change. Like, from summer to winter, like, we have a big change of face. Like, we go into ski mode or we go into that. And, like, another part of the seasonality part is, like, a lot of these hubs are in places where snow removal is happening and, like, where all these plows and, like, you don't want to be messing up public works where they need those places to put snow or do things like that.
That's good. We're going to move to the next one, I think, if that's all right. Cool.
So just speaking to some of the benefits of bike share that are great for it is that anytime you can get people out of cars into other ways of getting around, it takes pressure off of parking. You have to build less parking. There's more parking available. It reduces traffic and congestion. It's going to help with air pollution, your climate reduction goals. Some other things that people don't think about maybe as much as, like, someone that lives in a small apartment and doesn't have a lot of space for storage, or maybe lives on the third floor and doesn't want to have to carry the bike up and down. Someone that's not super mechanically inclined to work on the bikes, like, you don't have to do any of the maintenance on these. So that's another huge benefit. To people that already have, like, a bike, I'm like, just get a really nice mountain bike and spend your money on that and your storage space on that. And then these can be your townies for getting around, and you don't have to store it and maintain it. And
worry about it getting stolen.
Yep. Other things, it's a really important part of our transportation ecosystem, and complementary with our free bus system. That's why we named it the E-Ride, because our free bus system is called the Free Ride. So we have the Free Ride and the E-Ride, and there's a lot of synergies there. We co-locate a lot of our bike share hubs next to transit stops, And doors of that opens up is, we've all been in the situation where you're like racing for the bus and you like missed it by 1 minute. Now when you miss it by 1 minute, there's a bike right there and you can just hop on that and take that instead. And then in the reverse side of that, sometimes, not very often, but sometimes we have an empty hub where all of the bikes have been checked out, and if you get there and there's not a bike available, but you're at a bus stop, then you can very easily hop onto the bus. And then, obviously just the first last mile, getting people from their home to the bus stop is a big use case there. Economic boost, it connects people to shopping, dining, jobs. Transportation is a key part of economic upward mobility for anyone. I saw a question in the back.
Just do it.
It's more of a comment, a subset. I have a 14-year-old who doesn't drive, but we live in Wellington. She works in town. I don't have to leave my work, go pick her up, take her to work.
That's awesome.
Here's your season thing. You don't have to wait on the bus. You don't have to, because the school bus gets her home. Not enough time to get on the purple to get her into town. 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Everybody can keep working and nobody has to drive her out.
I'm going to start adding that point to mine. I'm going to go, look, kids are a pain. They need some transportation. It helps you out, right? I like that. Did you want to add anything else? Sorry,
No.
I love that, though. Thank you for sharing that with us. Future opportunities, right?
I think is the next one we talk about.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So just where we're going in the future here. Where there's a Colorado Energy Office grant for cargo specific e-bikes that we're gonna try to apply for and try to experiment with adding 1 or 2 of these cargo bikes into the program next year if we get the grant. So we're really excited about that. The baskets you see, they do have a small basket. It can carry up to 15 pounds, but if maybe not a full load of groceries. So we're excited to experiment with that. Drop has come out with offering a charging hub option. I will say, what we really like about this program is to what Beth was saying, having the swappable batteries, not having to have power to every hub location is a big benefit. But there are some studies out now that say, if you can just add charging to a few of your hubs, not all of them, you can really reduce the operational cost of the ops team having to go and swap as many batteries. So that's something we'll look at going forward. And anything else you want to add?
Yeah, maybe, if you don't mind, I just want to I feel like I'm an audience member here too. I'm learning from you. I'm listening. I want to just sum it up, and with time, I'm gonna keep things a little short. I want to get back to talking to our friends out here, but I keep hearing community, local stakeholders, and if I'm wrong, I'm hearing it's very important to have that at the very beginning. Do you all agree? I mean, it feels like really at the beginning, you need to have almost this transparent, good relationship. And for me, I think transparency is really key. And I know for me, when I work at Drop, I want it to be even in the good times and bad times and great times. I want transparency always. You know what I mean? I feel like we need that type of working relationship. And I don't know, am I missing the mark there? Do you all feel that way with that? Or?
Yeah, I think that's spot on. I think in the late 20-teens, there was a lot of bike share, just micro-mobility companies trying to move fast and break things, as they say, and they just kind of ran out to any city they could and dropped a bunch of equipment in there, and they all of a sudden cities overnight were like, whoa, what's going on? And they're all over the place. So it really works best if it's in a place where it's wanted, and so that's why working with Drop has been great. They really try to customize it to what your community's after.
And it feels like, too, from it, a lot of times the things we're doing, I think people think they got to go too big for it, or sometimes companies maybe won't even come in and work with you unless you want to go too big. But I think a big thing we do is you can start small, kind of scale it up as you go. I like the pilot programs for the idea of it gives you a little room to breathe, gives you a little room to see the things that you didn't even plan for. It always happens, something, I really like the pilot programs. I really like the idea about trusting the community. I'm actually a big believer that the community knows better than me when I come into a new state. I want to hear that. I want to hear that information. And then I want to use it to help, the community in the best way. And then I think a big thing, and of course, Isabel's, got to it, and you can probably tell from me as well, we like to talk about it. Okay, so we just want to talk about it. Any kind of talking about micromobility, mobility options, e-bikes, all that stuff, we love it. So feel free to reach out to us. I am going to jump to here now. Well, we say what's the biggest benefit to bike share. I'm going to change this a little bit, just a general Q&A, and just kind of talk it out. All right, we're already there. So if you don't mind, we'll go with you first, and we'll go back. Let me get you the hot mic here. That was easy. I thought I was going to have to twist arms or something.
Not with Marty.
Okay. Hot mic.
No offense, Marty. No, I'm curious. Sorry, Darren Graber, Town of Telluride. So thinking about swappable battery situation. Let's say there's like 24 bikes or 30 bikes in a first phase. What kind of facility is needed in the community to like have the staff?
Small.
Yeah.
For that size of operation, you don't need much. You need a charging station. You need a place to work on some bikes.
So like a couple hundred square feet or something.
Yeah, I think honestly, at that early phase, you wouldn't need much. I mean, it'd be nice to be right close to town, so that you're not like. I mean, I'm familiar with Telluride, so like being outside of town will just create more driving and make it a little bit harder on your ops team. But when it comes to like our footprint, it's pretty small during the season, and then like you just got to be able to store the bikes in your racks in the winter months.
Thanks.
Is that good? Okay. We're going to go to you. Will you please tell us who you are and who you're with? Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dova. I'm with Clear, which is a clean energy nonprofit in Carbondale, so I'm pretty familiar with WeCycle. And I was curious about, so Carbondale, it is year-round. WeCycle is year-round in Carbondale, but then in Aspen and Snowmass, it's just in the summer. And I was just curious if you had thought about some sort of like limited winter service or like winter solutions or something like that, since you're like in the summer it's there, and then in the winter it's kind of leaving people hanging.
Yeah, that's great. Yes, we are interested, but we want to do it safely so that no one's going to get hurt. And we get a lot of snow, a lot of ice up here, and these tires are the skinnier ones. So I think if we are going to be able to expand into the winter season, we'll probably have a different design bike, maybe one with fatter tires that's more handles better and snow and ice. The other part is just really factoring in the cost to operate versus the ridership during this colder season. Because if you're doing a lot of work around the operations for relatively a small number of trips, then maybe it's not as worth it as much. But for us, we do trying to do a little end of season handoff over to like, okay, the bike share's ending, but here's the Breck free ride, the bus system, and they are getting ready to launch all their winter routes, and they ramp up service in the winter time for ski season, and try to help transition people that are regularly using the bikes throughout the summer to get around over to our bus system. But we are interested in trying to figure out ways to do it through the winter. We just haven't quite gotten there yet.
Good answer. Okay, maybe I'm going to go, if you don't mind, this side of the room. Just go over here, and then we'll go. If that's okay. There you go. It's on, Mike.
Thank you. Teddy, can you speak a little bit to the amount that the town subsidizes the operations of this program?
Yeah. So when we launched, we had a grant from CDOT, from their Multimodal Options Fund. It was a 50% matching grant, and it covered the feasibility study as well as the first 2 seasons of the program. So we got half the cost covered through that. And then when we finished spending those funds at the end of last season, we got another grant, a new grant from the Colorado Energy Office, the CAMP grant, Community Accelerated Mobility Project. They open rounds. They have a planning grant and then an implementation grant, so you can go for either of those. And we got $500,000 for this year and spread out across 2 seasons for this year and next year. So we've paid about half price the entire time since we've launched of what the actual cost is. And then other things is that we have a revenue share with Drop, where we share some of the revenue between the user fees that come in. So some of that is coming back to the town. It's a very small amount, and it's not going to cover the cost, but it does defray some of the costs to the town as well.
Good. Do you want?
Yeah, just quick. Around that seasonality question, do you have ways to like do a closed service day, like weather related, or like say, like for instance, 4th of July for us, like we actually don't want bikes because there's so much, it's too bad. It'd be dangerous. So like, yeah, do you have the ways to do like temporary closures?
Yes.
I was going to say, yeah, our software has the capability to not let anyone unlock a bike on that day. And our bikes have a locking mechanism. So it's not that you can't ride it unless you unlock it. But the answer is yes, we can definitely block ridership for that day.
We can probably even go as far as having the development team and stuff make on app, maybe even a pop-up thing, like if you pull up the app and it's like, hey, today we're closed.
Exactly, yeah.
And of course it'd be a very friendly message, but, and maybe even with the discount code though, to ride again another day, you know, just to make it a little bit, I just thought, but any other questions, right? Here you are, thank you.
Hi, I'm Jess Hertzberg with the town of Keystone. And we are probably not quite ready for a bike share program. We're still developing a bike path and sidewalks on roads. But thinking about the future, when you work on systems mapping and siting the hubs, do you also provide support on things like striping, like bike lane only areas, or just like helping to map out the best way to have bike share space with pedestrians and hikers and runners?
Great question.
When we were citing hubs, we did try to. We were very thoughtful of where our best bike riding infrastructure was. A lot of it, if we went back to the system map, there's a lot kind of on the north-south orientation down the spine of Breckenridge, which is where our bike path runs through town. So a lot of them are pretty quickly off of that, and we did try to be thoughtful in that. This question comes up, it's a little bit of a chicken and the egg. Do you wait until you have the perfect bike infrastructure in place and all the nice bike paths and bike lanes before you do this, or do you do this and then build it? We are a gold level cycling community from the League of American Cyclists, so we're okay here in Breckenridge. We've got some decent infrastructure with our bike path, but also room for improvement as well. And I think we just wanted to get this launched and kind of create the demand that will also help lead towards additional bike infrastructure into the future. So I don't know if that answers it, but I'd say you...
it was your answer to it.
That's my answer to it.
We're running a little short on time. I think we have one more if anyone has a little quick something or want to get into it, or... Oh, I love that. Great. We're going back here. We got one more. This is great. Thank you. You guys have been great.
Hi there, Mel England with the cities of Englewood and Sheridan in Colorado. Maybe I missed this, I was 5 minutes late, but how did you choose, especially in the pilot phase, where to put the hubs?
Yeah, it was a lot of, we wanted to focus it on workforce housing, and so we know where all of our deed restricted properties, because the town helped develop a lot of those. So we looked at that, and then we just looked at community centers. We have hubs at our library, our rec center, grocery store, post office, things that people just in their daily lives, little errands, trips that they need to go to. And I'd say that really, we, the town, really developed those locations mostly because we, as Drop said, we know our community the best. We know where people live and where they tend to go, and it's not an exact science. It's a little bit of an art, and then also, I mean, asking people that are going to use the service. So we also do an annual survey every year. One of the questions is like, where would you like to see hubs go in the future? So we're always getting that feedback. People are always reaching out, contacting us. I live in this neighborhood. I want to use the bike share, but we don't have a hub yet. Can we get one? So I think going back to like starting with a pilot, or starting at some level that's maybe smaller, and then you'll kind of get the feedback to help you build and grow and get the hubs where they need to go. And you may find that you put some in a location, we're having to move a hub. That happens too. Sometimes you put it in one that you think is going to be great, and it's not. You have to move it. So a great part about our program is that we have these racks that are movable. You can just lift them up and and shuffle them along to a new location if you need to.
Well, I think we're at our end. Okay. One, I want to just say from me, and I'm going to let everyone thank you themselves, of course, but thank you guys. This was great. Thanks for the participation. Honestly, thanks for taking time out of your day just to listen to us. You know, you could have probably just went to the jacuzzis if you wanted to, but, you know, so we really appreciate that. Our names and things are up here. Please reach out to us. Cutscene, done. Drop, mic drop. No. That's what I said. You all don't know? I've been spending most of my, that's where we did our PowerPoint. So if you want, reach out to us. We're going to stay around a little bit to talk. There's a few of you I would love to talk to, by the way. But if you want, just reach out to me. We're always about. We really appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Clap to you guys. Yeah. No, clap to you all. Thank you.